Do you have the keys to the code? We're all waking up to something big. Let's explore the mystery together every Tuesday night on Awakening Code Radio.
Does 1111 mean anything to you?
Of course.
Does it? Well, I don't know. You can't just have that conversation with anybody. So we're affiliated with this 1111 Awakening Code page on Facebook that has almost 300,000 fans. So what is 1111 to you?
Well, it's spiritual awakening. It's a cue and a clue, you know. Part of the awakening process is that you become attuned to the synchronicities. And, again, the schoolhouse of Ganesha Center was giving me a platform to hear so many people saying the same thing. And one of the things that they were saying is 1111 and 111 and 1212. So I believe it's a code. You know, it's just a message. Now, for me, license plates almost glow, and I use them as a way to receive messages. And 444 is my major message right now, and so I know that I am in alignment. I am where I'm supposed to be when I see 444. You can't imagine how many license plates have 444
in them. Isn't it funny?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But on my phone or on license plates, or I went to a grocery store once and there was Coca-Cola on sale for $4.44. I mean, do they really do that?
Well, and I have to think, and I don't know how much of this is self-conditioning. I've had the 1111 thing going on in my life for like 30 years. I wrote a book called The Aquarians. It's about a novel about the 1111 phenomenon told in a fictional format. But my new direction, I still see 1111 all the time. It's a big thing. That's really the reason this is called Awakening Code Radio, is that there's different ways that we can be activated, and some of them seem to be these numeric codes that come to us and trigger us to at least be present in that moment. And that's really what we're supposed to be, is present in that moment and the next moment and the next moment. But if you're just present in one, that's better than never being present in any moment. So if a number sequence does that for you, great. Take a stock of your surroundings, become very aware. What's going on in your life? What's working? What do you think isn't? What direction are you moving? What direction are you not moving? Let those codes do their thing. There is the lesson. I think we are learning it together. For those who feel called, something hasn't been serving them. And this is the cool thing of where we are, I think, in this moment in history, is when we were more boxed in. I don't know why we were that way. We might not have been that way early on in our modern evolution, but recently we've been very boxed in our thinking. Maybe the scientific model helped do that. It's like prove it, repeat it. Right. You know, it's got to validate itself. There it is. So even our spirituality became the boxed in experience. So when something wasn't serving you anymore, a spiritual practice, you kind of felt like you had to jump from one box into the next one. It's like, well, I was this and now I'm that. And I tried that and now I'm this. And all of those things are labels that people understand and recognize. I went from Buddhism to Judaism, whatever it is. And now people are comfortable in the out-of-the-box expression of spirituality. That's an exciting time to be on this planet.
It absolutely is.
To know that there's something that God source, the creative of the entire universe that we cannot begin to get our minds around, must be much bigger than a box.
Well, and not outside ourselves, too, because I think that's very important to say, and that is that we are God sparks. I use the analogy of the ocean, which is beautiful and appropriate being here in Laguna, that if the ocean is God's source, creator, divine, whatever name you want to give that energy, and you take a cup of that ocean water, what is that? That is us. That is still ocean water. That is God. We are part of creation energy, and we are that powerful.
Right. We're part of the unfolding story.
Yeah.
And, give ourselves a break. Let breathe into the opening, because this is new territory. I mean, a little show like this is still kind of fringy. I love that there's the mainstream people that have talked about it. I'm not talking about the big production religious shows, but the Ellen DeGeneres show, energetically, just a great show.
Absolutely.
Oprah's show, especially her Sunday shows, opening the box, but they still have to sort of toe a line because they're catering to audience and demographics and numbers and sales and, all that stuff.
But look how far we've come.
And look that it opens up the door. And that door, things now that are spiking. As soon as the doors open, there's this just rush of energy to feel it out and experience it and grow into it. And the internet and social media is part of the fuel, a huge part of that fuel, letting that happen.
And if we all do our part in it, if you do this show, which is a phenomenal show, and that you say it's a little show, but it's not so little, and people continue to write books that speak their truth, and it will become more and more mainstream. And it is important, and we're going to hit a tipping point, and then it will be discussions by the water cooler.
Right. And the tipping point, I always like to encourage people, does not mean that everybody has to jump on board. Not everybody has to start believing in peace and peaceful coexistence and everything. The tipping point, we don't know what it is. It might be 10% of the entire world's population. If 10% just starts acting, being the change they wish to see in the world, and really doing it. Going out in your daily life and consciously knowing why you're doing what you're doing, looking for the avenues of service and being kind and generous and doing that. The tipping point might be much smaller than we think. Those ripple effects coming from those acts of kindness, the supportive words, the supportive energy, as opposed to the fear energy that says, it's me or him. He's out for my job and I got to run scared and I got to hoard up my stuff and I got to show off my stuff and I blah, 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 blah. All that stuff that we've been. It's like there's so much breathing that can happen in that model of, he's not trying to take my stuff. I don't have to show off. I see that we're much more similar than we were apart. I feel much more connected than separate. Boy, you get enough of that spreading around and it can be a flashpoint. It's like fire starts.
Absolutely. And Eric, it only takes cracking that spiritual window a little bit for that change to start happening.
Right.
I call it the colander effect. So I love food analogies. So you're this vibrational being in this beautiful yellow Tupperware colander with all the holes. And as you start awakening, noticing the 1111s, listening to shows like this, turning off the TV and the violence and maybe music that isn't inspirational, and baby steps. Maybe you start breathing. Maybe you start walking in nature, taking off your shoes and walking in the sand, meditating. Even if it's a challenge for you, if you're quieting your mind, you are raising your frequency. As you raise your frequency, what no longer matches that higher frequency is going to fall out the holes of that colander. It is the law of attraction. And then what will happen is things that will be attracted to you are at this higher frequency. That's how simple it is. And change can happen with such subtle little changes in your life. And then it starts to, grow.
But think of this girl. She plays all of her own instruments, makes all of her own arrangements, writes her songs, does the whole thing. And so I'm going to play this first song, I think is Today, what is it called? Today Could Be the Start. And it's just think of the arrangement that she did, someone 14 years old doing this. This is all voices, a layering of herself. And this is Maya Burns.
Who cares if you're hyper? Who cares if you're shy? In the end, we all share the same sky. Who cares what your color? White, black, brown, or blue? If we all help each other, we'll know what to do. Live life as you want it, accomplish who you want to be. If we all come together, I'm sure we'll all agree. Everyone can get along, everyone can sing a song, everyone can make someone feel better. There is no time to wait to get rid of this meaningless hate. Today could be the start. Who cares what's your gender? Who cares what's your race? In the end, everyone has the same face. Who cares what's your religion? Separates us how? In the end, we're all living in the now. Everyone can get along, everyone can sing a song, everyone can make someone feel better. There is no time to wait to get rid of this meaningless hate. could be the start.
I listened to that song probably a dozen times today, and I'm like, how does it? Here's my ego mind kind of sneaking back in, because I know something different about this. I go, how does a 14-year-old girl think of lyrics like that, live that message? And that was a really cool moment. So I just said, if this is your message, I'd love to share it on the radio show, because she had sang that song just by herself without all the vocal layering, but she sang that just by herself and her guitar. And as soon as I said, is this your message? There was like this urgency in her eyes, like this instant, like, yes, this is what I'm about. And I'm like, then I want to play this song for you.
Awakening Code Radio is available on podcast. Visit www.kx935.com.